Ooh, what's going on, MSFers? Duelim here, back again with another video. And today, it's a little bit early. We're talking about Omega Sentinel because Scopely can't even figure out how to release a character now. So if you guys didn't know, Omega Sentinel came out a day early, or 3 days early, actually, on Friday, accidentally, on the 20th. I'm recording this on the 21st, but this will go up on the 22nd. So Omega Sentinel is out there for offers, and her core orb is in there, all that good stuff. So they essentially just activated Omega Sentinel a little bit early because there was a bug, and her founder offers ended up going live early. I don't know, it's weird. So her tags are Villain, Global, Tech, Support, and obviously ORCHIS. She's going to be on the Tech Raid team. Her speed is at 125, so that's going to be before Nimrod, but that's going to be after Lady Deathstrike, obviously after Scientist Supreme turn 1. I think she's going to be going second on the team. I think that sounds correct. So yeah, Omega Sentinel here. Let's get into the kit. Omega Beat Down. So this is going to be the basics. So attack primary target for 50% damage. Rebound chain to 3 adjacent targets for 50% damage. And in raids, it deals extra damage. Counterattack does break this chain, but the attack is unavoidable. As you go here, you're applying regeneration. You're getting more damage. And then the T4 is just applying regeneration for 2 turns instead of 1. I think this is only going to be good if you're using them in like Cosmic Crucible and you want them to just be way harder to kill. I am going to end up putting it on because, again, Spotlight raids have made T4s a non-event. I literally have a surplus every single day, so I'm putting every single T4 on. I think this one is kind of a luxury to have, but it can be nice if they're on defense in Cosmic Crucible and she's putting way more regens out there and she's healing for a lot more and all that kind of stuff, so it could be interesting. For her special, Cyborg Assault, attack primary target for 60% damage, apply regeneration, once again, to self and all ORCHIS, more damage. In raids, so you're going to apply defense up to self and all tech allies, and then in raids, apply defense up for 2 turns to self and all ORCHIS allies, more damage, more healing as well. And then as you get further in raids, apply speed up to 2 turns to self and all ORCHIS allies, and this does it even outside of raids with just tech allies as well. Next up is is more damage, and then in raids apply offense up. So this is giving offense up, speed up, defense up. This is giving a lot of stuff, which is really nice. And then on the T4, 70% extra damage, apply ability block to the primary target, and then heal self and all ORCHIS allies for an additional 10% of this character's max health. This is absolutely an essential T4. This is a no-brainer. You need it. Applying ability block to primary target. Also, the heal is going to be really great. This heal is not tied to raids, so this is going to be really awesome in Cosmic Crucible defense, War defense, anywhere else you're going to be using this team. So this is an absolute no-brainer. Up next, Nano Blast, the ultimate. Attack all enemies for 60% piercing, and bonus attack all enemies for 60% piercing. This attack is unavoidable. So piercing, you're healing allies as well for max health. Next up is going to be apply stun to 2 random mutant or tech allies. And this is in any game mode. Anywhere. So if there are 2 mutant or 2 tech or 1 mutant and 1 tech, they're guaranteed to get stunned. That's ridiculously good. Like, it's incredibly, incredibly good. It is RNG, though, so if you're going against a full mutant team, you can't choose who you're stunning, which is a little unfortunate. But this is still really, really good. In raids, instead, apply stun to all mutant and tech enemies. So that's really, really good. So it's literally stunning everybody. That North Star that we've been hating on those tech nodes is going to get stunned, so that's really great. Then 20% piercing to primary and secondary attacks. Heal self and all ORCHIS allies for an additional 15% of this character's max health. So a bunch of healing from this character. And then the T4 is applied stun for 2 turns to that primary target. So this is, yeah, this is apply stun for 2 turns. Instead of the random, it's 2 turns. It's 2 turns now instead of just 1 to the random mutant and tech. Oh, that's kind of nuts. So this is now going to be a 2-turn stun in any game mode against 2 random mutant or tech enemies. Oh, that's kind of nuts. So that's really, really good for plug and play value, or just in the ORCHIS team in general. In War, CC, anything like that, that's really good. So that's an essential T4. Absolutely do that one. Last up, we have Living Sentinel, and this is going to be the passive. So on turn, each summon tech allies turn on turn, and each summon tech allies turn heal self and ORCHIS ally for 10% of this character's max health. If that ally's health is full, instead barrier. So even if it's going to heal, it's essentially doing an overcap on the heal, and it's just giving barrier instead. So this is kind of like the Peter B passive that he has, the 20% heal on everybody's turn, no matter what, even if he's trauma stunned. Great mechanic there, by the way, Scopely. So this is a 10%, but it's also doing barrier if they're already at max health. And then on enemy turn, attack the most injured enemy for 150% damage. So that's kind of like a Kestrel ping, which is pretty interesting. On death, 30% chance to revive with 30% of this character's max health. In raid, for each summoned tech ally, gain 35% revive chance and revive with an additional 10% of this character's max health. So she essentially gets more revive chance when there's the summoned tech allies from Sentinel there, which is great. In raids, lower the max barrier for all enemies by 20%, which is great because they have that North Star, the Sasquatch, a lot of people that have barriers, so that's going to be able to help you to get through them a lot quicker. Next up is in raids. If this character has 4 or more ORCHIS allies, enemy characters cannot gain defense up. So when you have the full team, they essentially can't gain defense up. So that Sasquatch will be easier to get through. The North Star will be way easier to get through and won't have the safeguard defense up. They'll still have safeguard, but not that defense up. So that's really, really nice. So they'll be a lot squishier. And with these new stats, I've been using the 3-piece before I got Nimrod, and Lady Deathstrike ult or special just deletes like 4 people off the rip. It's really, really nice. And then for the T4 in raids, if this character does not have ability block, this character and all ORCHIS allies cannot gain slow. Remember, North Star's putting out slows. I don't think Black Cat's not putting out slows, but like North Star's putting out slows, and there's a lot of North Stars. I can't remember who else is putting out slows on those nodes, but there are others for sure. In raids, attack the most injured enemy for an additional 150% damage. So this is making it a 300% damage ping instead. And this is awesome. This is a good T4. This is avoiding you from getting slow turn 1 from North Star ulting. So this is absolutely an essential T4. So no brainer T4 on the passive, no brainer T4 on the ult. The special is also, I think, a no-brainer, honestly, and then the basic is meh, but I think the basic will be good for some other game modes outside of raids for those extra generations, because this character is going to be healing an absolute metric butt ton of health, which is pretty awesome. So now you're saying, what ISO are we going to put on Omega Sentinel? And what I'm going to do is we're going to look at the full ORCHIS team now that we have it. So we have Striker on Sentinel. That's a no-brainer. You have to put Striker on Sentinel. Lady Deathstrike, I think Striker is the best because she does so much with bleeds, and Striker makes her bleeds do more damage. Scientist Supreme is obviously a healer. That is without a shadow of a doubt. And Nimrod is absolutely a raider because everything he does is A, unavoidable, and B, it hits everybody, or primary and adjacent. So he's absolutely a raider. Omega Sentinel has 2 ideal ISO choices. She could go healer, especially if your team is needing that extra heal because she's only going to be at 3-3 because she does so much max healing, max health healing. So if your stats aren't that good on her because you only have her at 3-3, 4-4, whatever it is, healer could be a good option. But as she gets bigger, absolutely, I think Raider is going to be awesome. Now, I think having them both on there would not be a terrible idea, especially because if they're going to be used in War and Cosmic Crucible, if Omega Sentinel is a healer and healing for like 30% max health, plus the healer augment from her ISO choice, it could be kind of ridiculous to try to get through this team. But it could be also overkill, and you're probably going to want that extra Raider for more vulnerables for Lady Deathstrike to hit into, as well as Sentinel to make sure Sentinel's getting counterattacks up a bunch, and to make sure Lady Deathstrike's getting a bunch of bleeds out there and doing a lot of damage. So I am leaning more towards Raider, but healer could be a good option. It's definitely going to take a decent amount of play testing outside of raids. I think inside raids, it absolutely does not matter. You can put her as a fortifier for all I care, and they're going to smash the raids. But I'm talking about War and Cosmic Crucible. It's going to be a toss-up between healer if you want them to stay alive longer, or if that's just overkill because we already have Scientist Supreme as a healer. Or we can put Raider on her for just more damage because, again, her basic is a rebound chain and her ult attacks all enemies twice as well. So it's kind of like that Dormammu ult. So it's getting way more vulnerables out there for Lady Deathstrike and Sentinel to just go to town. So that's going to be it for Omega Sentinel, and now the entire Orchis team as well. I hope this gave you guys some insight on how to build Omega Sentinel. I would recommend taking her to G18, level 100. Honestly, probably G19 now, level 100. I am going to be taking, I've decided that the Orchis team is going to go to DD8 for me. I am not going to take Cabal now. So I am taking the 4-piece Orchis team, except for Omega Sentinel because she's not out yet, and I am getting close to starting that section. So I'm taking Apocalypse over Omega Sentinel. But I think G19 on Omega Sentinel is still going to be pretty useful. If you're flush with tech gear, absolutely. I'd say in order, I'd say Lady Deathstrike is probably the most important to take to G19. Then probably Nimrod, then probably Sentinel, then Scientist Supreme, then Omega Sentinel is last. But I do think this team is all worth G19 after the reworks that they got and after playing with them and seeing how nuts they are in War and Cosmic Crucible. I really do think they are worth it. But I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I hope you guys learned something. I hope it helped you guys out a little bit. Until next time, this has been Duelim. Later, MSFers.